Good evening, everybody. Hi. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I think I speak on behalf of all three judges that we've seen some exceptional talent on stage. And I also think I speak on behalf of all three judges in saying that it's not every day that we have an inter-house drama competition at probably the biggest theatre in Sri Lanka. And it's absolutely exceptional that it's been pulled off. So kudos to Cole Theatre 7 as well as obviously college, Rehan, director and everybody involved in making sure that we were able to host the in-house drama competition at a prestigious venue such as this, which holds a lot of memories for a lot of actors. Starting off in terms of judges' comments, I would like everyone to give a big hand to all four houses before we start. I'd like to forward that round of applause to everyone who directed as well in working with the boys. Could we give them a hand as well? It's lovely to see some promising talent at college, and I'm sure they'll grow in their craft in the years to come. So, in terms of the performances we saw today, we're going to just share some general comments overall, because I think the results will cover anything. Judges and cast, if you need any additional information, you can meet us after we're done, and then we'll be more than happy to share individual comments with you. Overall, we saw a lot of thought going into some of the characters, especially when considering how some of the actors looked at their portrayals. In theatre, there is this thing called a character arc, where you start and where you end off. There are obstacles you need to overcome, you need to understand those obstacles, and of course, the emotional drives behind them, why you make certain decisions when you're portraying a character and why you don't. And we saw some actors and characters that had that portrayal that was more believable because they had grasped the true understanding of the character as well as the text provided to them. In terms of staging, we saw some very interesting adaptations. We saw excellent use of the space provided, and also we saw areas that could be improved. We're not going to dive into specific examples, maybe we might after the proceedings are concluded. But in terms of staging, one of the key things obviously to keep in mind is basics like masking, making sure that your actors in front don't cover the actors behind, making sure that portrayals are not restricted to a single spot or a location on stage, but they're dynamic and engage the audience. And also in terms of directional choices, such as how your set is going to be, in terms of what you're moving around, what you're keeping, what crew comes in and moves what, how you're going to use your actors to move your stage setting and such. So we were very carefully looking at how those decisions were made when we came to these decisions. And then of course finally in terms of ensemble performances, we looked at how the cast performed cohesively as well as individually. There were obviously strong stand-up performances, but as they say, any production is not a single person unless it is designed to be so. It's more often than not an ensemble presenting a story. So we looked at both angles in terms of making our decision in understanding who had the right balance and who also ensured that the casting was done to the best effect in terms of making sure that the actors' strengths were understood and those were amplified. With that, I'm going to hand things over to Bims, to share her thoughts.
Yeah, just adding to what Dino already said, we saw a lot of promise. So nothing that we say here is to bring you down. It's all meant in a very constructive way. We see a lot of promise, so kudos to you guys. Keep it going. On specifics, there was a lot of issues with your clarity and your projection. And we struggled in certain places. We were just seated only 5 rows away and we still struggled to hear. So holding a larger theatre audience together is something very crucial and critical to a theatre performer, something I think all of us need to learn. So that was one where we felt that you could focus on a little bit more next time. And another one that we saw was your interpersonal play, sort of engaging with the other actors, drawing from their energy, passing it back on, and kind of keeping something dynamic going on. It's not just like you say your line, you do your part, you run through your blocking, and you're done. No, you kind of have to keep it going, even when it's not your line, even when it's not. So some of those things you need to really think through, even when you are like just maybe a silent character or you have like 1 or 2 lines and so on. We struggled a little bit. I think it's also to do with the fact that there were, compared to the number of male roles, there were lesser female roles in the scripts that you had chosen. So we struggled a little bit to find the individual actors, individual performances to award in the female category. Not to say that you're all were bad, but that was something lacking. And we have seen, I'm sure, like Dino's batch, Anup's batch. I personally have seen, so you can do the math now and figure out our ages, but we've seen like some tremendous performances from boys' schools of female characters. So it's not impossible, it's not done, it's done. So something to think about as well. Rehan?
Okay, try to keep this as brief as possible. But just to reiterate what Dino said, congratulations to St. Joseph's College, a fantastic job, well done. Congratulations to Goal 37. For those of you who were lucky enough, and I use that word very, very carefully, lucky enough to perform on this stage at your age for an inter-house competition, very few people have got that opportunity. So cherish that. I mean, you are performing in front of Sri Lankan theatre royalty as well. You don't get chances like this, so it's a fantastic effort. Job well done, and please keep the flag flying high in that sense. Moving on to just carrying on the points that these guys raised. One thing I would definitely like to stress on is the importance of focusing and developing a character and consistency in taking the character through. As an actor, as a performer, you are given a gift. It's magic to be able to transport a person who has come to this theatre after a heavy day's work or a heavy week, or as we have been through a heavy 4 years. To take and transport that individual into a different environment, a different reality. Okay? So in order for you to do that, you have to be invested in that same character, the same portrait from the start to the finish. And that comes in certain steps, and I'm sure your directors have taken you through that. But analysis of your script, understanding the text, and developing what your character traits are, and having that consistently, portrayed from the start right to the finish. And one of the performances that we had to see today, we saw characters who were aged 12, moving on to an older age. Those are challenges. So you have to keep a consistency, but also keep an aging process going. So that is a challenge that's given to you as a performer, but the tools are within grasp. It's great to see some great performances, at your age. So I really hope to see these tools being utilized into, it doesn't have to be in theatre, it can be in day-to-day life. I use that in a courtroom all the time. It's very useful to be able to, portray somebody else sometimes. Hats off to you guys, job well done, and please keep using your talents and your abilities. And the rest of it has been covered by these guys, so I'm not going to ramble on too much. Congrats.